Hey there, I'm Robert Storm. Today I want to talk to you about a few different topics. Recently on my Facebook page, some things have gone down, some people have said some things, and I thought it would be wise of me to address this in a video, and to sort of explain my viewpoint on some of the things that happened. Saw quite a few comments, quite a few people defending me, which I appreciate the gesture and effort. I honestly do. But at the same time, some words were said that should not have been said to one another, and I want to address that partially right now. Whenever I cuss, and it is a controversial topic for some, 99.9% of the time, I'm not cussing at someone. I'm not cussing someone out, which is the proper. I'll say it's the generally understood viewpoint for some people. Like when you hear that someone cusses, you generally think of someone who's cussing someone else out. But that's not necessarily the only use for cuss words. Cuss words are a form of expression. They add flavor to your normal conversation. So, when I say, have a fucking awesome day, that's exactly what I mean. That's not a negative situation, that's a positive situation. Now, you may not say it that way, but that's the way I say it. I feel as though some people look at the way that I live my life and, they want to critique it, which is fine. I'm not bothered by it, which I'll get to in a second. But, they'll address the fact that I use cuss words. But I don't cuss people out, generally. I mean, there have been a couple times where I've done that, but I do my best not to. So, and that comes down to a matter of being royalty, being a prince or a princess, a daughter or son of God. You act and behave in a certain way that is, generally speaking, people look to that and they're like, that's how I want to live my life. On the flip side of that, some people cannot cuss and say some of the meanest and most hurtful things, evil things. And I guess I need to clarify the definition of evil, again, for those who keep forgetting. Evil is the desire and intent to hurt someone. Desire and intent to hurt someone. If Miley Cyrus is twerking on a stage, that's not evil. She's not trying to hurt you by twerking on the stage. I know some people may get confused, but a dictionary is your best friend right there. So, in regards to evil, if you're posting things on people's Facebook that are of an intent to assault or degrade them, that's evil. It doesn't matter what Bible verses you're using, that's evil. So I thought I'd mention that real quick. I'd also like to mention that if you're going to cuss because everyone else is doing it, that's a poor reason. That is a very poor reason. You should never make a decision based on popularity. Never. So, if you have a rule about not cussing, then just don't cuss. And if you have a rule that you're okay with cussing, then feel free to cuss. But don't decide that you're not going to cuss because other people convince you that you shouldn't cuss. Like, that's your decision. And don't decide to cuss just because other people cuss. It doesn't make you cool either way. It needs to be part of your daily, everyday vernacular. It needs to be like, oh man, I like that watch. That watch is cool as fuck. Like, it needs to be natural. If it's not a natural part of your life, if you're forcing your cussing to be cool or to be part of the crowd or the group, that can really hurt your reputation. And I look at some people that are older than me and I wonder, why? Why would you give in to peer pressure on things like this? I mean, if something's not your established way of doing things, Don't change just because it's a popular way. Do it because it's natural to you. If something's not natural to you, then it's not going to work in your life. I don't care who you've seen do it. I don't care if, the most amazing celebrity out there is doing it. It doesn't matter. Do what works for you. Because celebrities don't have to live with you, and you don't have to live with them. You have to live with you, and I have to live with me. And that's an important point, I believe. In addition, try to maintain a certain level of tough skin. And I know this can be difficult. Some people say some really, really hurtful things. They really do. But there comes a point in time when you have to realize, am I really going to get upset because one person is upset at me? Because one person is saying mean or hateful things to me? Or 3 people, or 5 people? Whatever amount of people that you can handle as having an issue with you, that is the limit. That is your plateau. So, if a few people get on my Facebook page or message me some mean things, I'm not going to be that upset, because I want to get to the point one day where I have 10,000 people upset at me. Because if 10,000 people are upset at me, then I'm probably making a dent in the world. I'm probably making progress. So I'm not going to get upset just because, somebody said you're a fucking idiot, or, people have downgraded my, way of thinking or my lifestyle. I'm not going to get that upset, partially because I recognize where they're coming from, because I've been there, and partially because it's just too small of a thing to worry about these days. If you're going to do anything in life, you're going to be criticized. It's going to happen. You just got to roll with the punches and go with it. So, I know this video has kind of been all over the place and talking about some recent ones, but I actually want to talk to you a little bit about something I saw in Hebrews 11. This has been on my mind lately, over the past month, I believe. It's Hebrews 11, verse 6. But without faith, it is impossible to please Him. You have to have faith to please God. And that's ultimately the name of the game. People are like, you shouldn't please yourself. Well, we're copied right after God, and God's pleasing Himself. So I don't understand that line of thinking. Like, Jesus didn't go to the cross for you. I know everyone says Jesus went to the cross for you. No, He went to the cross for the joy that was set before Him. That joy being getting to spend eternity with all of us. That's a pretty big gift. That's a pretty big thing for God. He's like, I would love to spend eternity with all of my creation, all the people that I've named my sons and daughters of God. So that was the joy that was set before Him. So He endured the cross because He wanted the joy set before Him. And some of you people are so against pleasure and joy and happiness, it boggles my mind. It blows my mind. And unfortunately, if you don't want to be happy, I can't help you there. And it's important to recognize that it's mostly a matter of choice. If you want to know the secret to being happy, I'll tell you this right here. If you decide to be happy, you'll always be happy. If you decide to always be happy, you'll always be happy. Financial concerns, everyone's got them. Everyone's got problems. I get people who have more money in the bank account than me, and they'll turn to me and they'll be like, man, it's just so hard. It's, it's a difficult life, etc. And I understand there's difficult situations. There truly are. But they'll turn to me and they'll ask me, so why doesn't your stuff work? And I say, what do you mean? They say, well, how come you're not a millionaire? And, you're not wealthy. I'm like, but I am. Some people forget, you're the son of a God. There's a God in heaven who runs everything. He's named the King of Kings. He has the cattle on 1,000 hills. If you had 1,000 hills filled with cattle, He would own every single one. He said He would provide all my needs according to his riches and glory. All my needs. So, do I have $1 million? Yes, I have $1 million. It's not in my hands, it's not in my bank account, but it's available if I need it. And that's the key. Some people, they have more money than me and they're upset because they don't have enough. They don't have enough money to be happy. Oh my gosh, I could go on and on about that. Do you have clothes on your back? Do you have a roof over your head? Do you have food in your belly? If you have that going for you, you have it all right. Choose to be positive. Choose to be happy. I'm getting slightly off topic, so I'm going to return to the verse at hand. Hebrews 11:6. Without faith it is impossible to please him. Talking about pleasing him. For he that cometh to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. Now I see all sorts of people use this verse. Plenty of people use this verse. And they tend to skip over that middle part right there. He that cometh to God must believe that he is. There's lots of promises in the Bible. There's promises that some of you have gotten from God. And you're like, why aren't these promises coming? Why is my faith waning? Which happens from time to time. We're all human. We all have issues with our faith, with doubt, etc. But I want to touch a little bit on the existence of God. There's a lot of people out there who have an evolution view on life, and that's fine. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this. This is sort of an evolution versus creation topic, and you're welcome to chime in under this YouTube video or on my Facebook page in regards to your conclusions about this. Me being a scientific kind of guy, I deal a lot in laws of science, rules, etc. That stuff makes sense to me. It's kind of how I was raised, I guess. That's the way I was taught, things like that. So that kind of stuff, it pulls me in. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some science stuff. There's a law. It's similar. A law in science is something that has undisputably been proven. Been proven 100% of the time, accurate all the time. Okay? Now, theories, you've got evolution and creation. Those are both theories. They can't be proven. They can just be, you can show evidence for either one, but they can't be proven. So let's talk about laws of science. Something that has been undisputably proven every single time. Kind of like the law of gravity. Gravity states every object that has matter, has some sort of mass, has a pull to it. It will pull objects to it. You don't realize it, but your body has mass, and it's pulling microscopic objects to you. Planets do that. Each planet has its own unique gravity, and it's an acceleration equation. For Earth, it's 9.8 meters per second squared. That means that your body will speed up at that rate until it hits the ground. If you were in free fall in the atmosphere, you're just dropping out of a plane and you don't have a parachute or anything. Just anything in free fall is gonna accelerate at that rate of 9.8 meters per second squared. That is the law of gravity in regards to Earth. But the law of gravity is universal. It exists on other planets, Mars, Jupiter, etc. It exists everywhere. It's a universal law. There's another one. It's called the second law of thermodynamics. It states that energy and matter cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed. At an atomic level and molecular level, everything that exists in the world came from something. Okay? It didn't just decide to exist. Okay? Now, some of you are like, oh, that's not proof against evolution. I understand. I'm actually coming to something else. It means that it started somewhere. Okay? Now, evolutionists have a progressive system. We came from apes. And, the monkey family, whatever you want to call it. And then it goes back to reptiles, and it goes back to various mammals, etc. You know, and I probably have that backwards. It's been a while since I've studied evolution. But then, you know, you go back to the primordial ooze crawling out of the sea. You go back to the Earth being created by the Big Bang, along with all the other planets, all the other worlds, as the Bible calls them. And that was a result of the Big Bang. That is evolutionist view. Okay, now, what caused the Big Bang? And that's part of the dilemma, because the second law of thermodynamics states that energy and matter cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed. On any molecular level, on any atomic and subatomic level, it's only being transformed. So where did it come from? Where did this Big Bang come from? You could say that it came from a speck of dust, or a ball of energy, or some type of matter or material that decided to explode. And, you know, what I say decided. Obviously, an inanimate object can't decide anything. But at one point, it exploded and created the Big Bang. Doesn't matter if it's a ball of energy, doesn't matter if it's a speck of dust, doesn't matter exactly what matter it is, except that something originated everything, and that something that created the Big Bang is an inanimate object in the evolutionary world. What does that mean? That means that that original object, ball of energy, speck of dust, etc., according to the universal laws of physics and the second law of thermodynamics, which states that energy and matter cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed, that matter, that material, never stopped existing. It always existed. Always. Why? Well, everything had to come from somewhere, except apparently the original object. The original object, apparently, is in defiance of the universal law, the second law of thermodynamics. So you have whatever object it is, whether it be a ball of energy, a speck of dust, you know, a pebble, a rock, you know, and a ball of energy makes a lot more sense in my opinion. But whatever it is, it always existed. Why? Well, because it was the original. Then you've got creation. Creation states that the earth was sort of created in a mature form by a God who supposedly has the power to create in 6 days planets and people and animals and plants and oxygen, space, light, etc. Supposedly this God exists. Supposedly he cares about his creation, and supposedly he wants to get to know him, to know us. And it would make sense that if there is a God, then definitely he wants to get to know his creation in one form or another. Whether you believe that he is a stern, demanding God, and he demands that you bow and pay homage or respect, or if you believe, as I do, that he's a friend that you can communicate with on a day-to-day basis. It's up to you on how you decide, but if there is a God, it would make sense that he wants to talk to us. So let's go to the existence of God. You're saying in creation that there's a God who created everything in 6 days. Evolution says that there was a Big Bang caused by whatever original matter there was that exploded and created everything else. God always created, or God always existed. According to pretty much anyone you want to talk to, God always existed. He never stopped being, or he never will stop being. He never started. He just always in existence, in the continuity of the time continuum. Because when you talk about Einstein's equation, E equals mc squared, you're talking about the speed of light. And God says that he is light. Therefore, theoretically, he's capable of repeating time continuously, and thereby knowing everything about everyone. So it leads to the understanding, if God is light, like he says, then yes, he can operate at the speed of light. He can operate faster than time. He has the ability to know everything about you because he's lived this continuous time cycle a million times over. And I believe that in heaven we'll actually get the experience to live in sort of a time continuity. I believe that is what forever references. But back to the point on hand. You have God creating earth in all its fullness in 6 days, resting on the seventh. You have evolution saying it's created by the Big Bang. Either way, a ball of energy or God, whatever originally existed, it always existed. It had to always exist. Now here's the kicker. Second law of thermodynamics defies both of them. It defies both of them. It says God can't exist and an original matter cannot exist. It doesn't matter if it's a ball of energy. It doesn't matter if it's a speck of dust. It can't exist forever. It has to come from somewhere. The spiritual answer to this is, if God created everything, then he also created the universal laws. And the universal laws only exist because God allows them to exist. That's what makes an animated person a little bit more understandable as a creation theory than to say that a ball of energy or a speck of dust always existed. That's my take. That's my viewpoint on it. I'm also going to address the creation and evolution hybrid that has come out lately. The Pope actually mentions this. He said God's not a wizard. He didn't have a wand, things like that. And of course, I'm generalizing there. But the consensus was that you can mix evolution and creation. Here's what I want to say. If there is truly a God who has omnipotent power, and he decides that he's going to take billions of years, here's a guy who takes billions of years to carefully arrange the Big Bang and to distribute everything accordingly through billions of years into what we have today. If he truly is that powerful, why would he not just do it in 6 days like he said he did? And are you calling God a liar? That's just things that cross my mind. So I don't know if this video helped you. I hope it did. I feel like there's a lot more I want to talk about, but I'm just going to wrap it up right now. But he that cometh to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. I'd like to talk about that a little bit more in the future, diligently seeking him. I'd like to talk a little bit about these faith verses. But today was a existence of God. Does he exist? I just felt like I needed to address that. So I hope everyone has a good day, and I apologize for the length of this video, but I really hope it helped you. Have a fucking awesome day.